And also, of course, Comorn Law, 1-800-656-3557, Greenthumb Garden of Ferndale. And we're going to go to a caller here. 231 number. Caller, can you hear us? Thanks for calling.
Good. Hello there, Michael.
Hello.
This is Rev. Steve calling from Benzonia, Michigan.
Hey,
Thanks
Steve.
for calling in.
Thanks for
Steve.
calling in.
My second favorite guy named Thompson. What's up?
I've been listening to your show. It's ironic here on the computer. It says 44 minutes and 52 seconds left. But
I know we may stick it out. Someone scheduled the show a half hour longer. I was just looking for a way out if it got low. But now, you know what? We're going to stick it out. The Reverend Steve's here. We got a whole new show. We got a whole new site. Let's do it. Come on.
Well, listen. I wanted to the reason I'm calling, Michael, is I wanted to say a sincere and heartfelt thank you to both you and to Joe Kane. I tried to watch I've been sick for the whole month of February, and I'm just starting to come out of it real bad. It was some kind of an upper viral infection that's been going through everybody up here. But I tried to watch the legislative hearing this morning on my computer on this Ustream or something like that Steve Green was putting out, and it kept going blank on me, and then I would have to re-click it on, and I'd get this stupid commercial with a goat eating nothing before it would go back into the hearing.
Yeah, I
only got to hear bits and pieces of what you and Joe were saying, but I wanted to share with you that when Joe, God love him, he's always given his statistics. He's got his statistics and his studies right in front of him. And I think it might have been Kavanaugh that basically tried to attack him and say, we got all these statistics and studies in front of us. We see these, what we want is recommendations. And I wanted you to know that I was screaming at my computer. I got 4 recommendations for you. Number 1 recommendation, leave our law alone.
Right.
Number 2 recommendation, how about introducing a bill that would allow for dispensaries and compassion clubs in Michigan? In recommendation number 3, why not take marijuana out of Schedule 1 in the state of Michigan? Introduce a bill that will take it out of Schedule 1 in the state of Michigan. And then 3 was how about introducing a bill that would lower the penalty to a civil infraction, much like Ann Arbor? And finally, number 4, my final recommendation, why don't you introduce a bill to just make cannabis illegal here in the state of Michigan for all adults 21 and over, and start taxing and regulating it like alcohol and cigarettes. There's my recommendations to you, buddy.
Kavanaugh mentioned that. Kavanaugh mentioned that he would support something like that, but he just didn't think that it would go over in the current political climate in the legislature.
Right.
But it's not completely unrealistic as a future thing. I really don't think.
Well, and I know you're talking about testing tonight, but I just really wanted to get your take on, if I'm hearing this right, there's supposedly a new Senate bill that was introduced where they actually want to remove glaucoma from the conditions.
That's
Indeed,
Rick Jones for you.
Rick Jones at work again, coming right
and that
at
was introduced by Jones?
Yes, and he's also introduced the Property Managers Association of Michigan lobbied bill to allow property owners to ban at will medical use in any of their facilities.
They didn't do an end around on this by drawing our attention into the representative judiciary hearings, and then the Senate was doing its dance in the dark. That didn't happen. That's not what's going on, is it?
No. I think that
seriously, because like this is kind of news. Like they were ripping on, in a way, in that article,
Jones
the medical marijuana community, but. I don't know. I mean, I guess is it just?
I think Matt hit it on the head. He has a reputation already within the Senate. Even his bills are sitting out there on the docket still. SB 17 is still sitting out there. None of us are seriously worried about it anymore.
As far as I'm concerned, it was simply just a distraction technique to keep more of us away from this House committee issue. If they wanted to divide us in order to make it easier to conquer, they would do exactly this, is introduce a brand new set of bills that would be so raw as to make us scream in anger.
I wonder what the senators thought, because none of the medical marijuana community even bothered to show up.
Certainly,
right.
they did not infer our support. I guarantee that.
But they knew we were out there because we were over at the house.
We knew what we would get if we went there. We get the same as last time. So what's the point? He's just going to ramrod it through with using his position.
Disrespect that Senator Jones showed last time in the Senate Judiciary Committee meetings, and the Senate Health and Human Services Committee meeting, which is chaired by Marlowe. There's really not a lot of respect for medical marijuana activists in those chambers, and it's really a shame, because not only are we all citizens, we're all voters, we're also all sick people too.
And veterans.
Thank you very much, veterans, and for all different sorts of reasons, we all deserve respect. The most important thing is that we put those people in their positions, and I believe sometimes government forgets that they can be unelected. As Representative Scott learned in Southern Genesee County. What a great campaign that our friend Carrie Neville Justice ran too. Unfortunately, she was not able to prevail in that contest, but it's great to see someone with an alternative viewpoint show up and get a decent percentage of the vote as she did. So, congratulations to her in that effort.
Well, I want you to know that up here in my daily morning prayers for about a month now, I've been asking God to recall this Senator Rick Jones like he did Kalkaska County Prosecutor Brian Donnelly. I want him to recall him.
You want the Lord to recall Jones? That might be the only thing to get him out of office. He seems to be pretty confident in his position.
I know cross-country skiing up north, I understand it's real good for you.
He takes every opportunity to be totally offensive, though, so you can't feel too sorry for him.
There's if you go to Jeff Irwin, who has been a total hero and champion in this entire
yes, he has.
On his website, the video of him testifying, whatever he's doing, it must be on the the floor. In the background is Rick Jones, not paying attention. Just it's incidentally caught in the background. Rick Jones is looking at his back to what's going on. He's talking to someone else while Representative Irwin is giving his it's just so ironic, and kind of insulting at the same time to our dear friend,
Yes.
But credit where credit is due.
The arrogance that you have to put up with.
There are certain members of the House that stood tall for us. Oaks, Brown, as you mentioned, Irwin has been tall too, and Ed Kavanaugh and Mark Meadows, who was on the radio with me one time. They've been very strong for the cause at certain times, and then again in other instances where they may not necessarily believe what we believe, they've not been so great for us.
It's really strange. Nobody from that right side beyond the one. Must be obviously Republican representative. Anyone to the right of him has not spoken a peep, right? All the language and discussions come from the left side, which is, Irwin, Brown, and Oaks, and the guy.
They are ready to use their stamping arm. I can tell you that. Their rubber stamping arm is ready to go.
Could you think of any of the people to the right now and visualize their faces?
Just Kurt Heisey, I think, is the only one, and he's kind of chubby. He's often on the right-hand side there.
But
he's very conservative.
They've been silent. They didn't ask one question.
Damrow is popping up
and
but that's just asking questions to inflame things quite a bit.
But that's just to...
But yeah, none of the rest of the Republicans. I think that they're ready to follow Horn and Kavanaugh, or Horn and Kavanaugh's lead, definitely Horn and Walsh's lead for sure. It seems
that's just it. So. And they probably know it on the other side. That's why they're trying to make...
Walsh is listening intently, it appears.
Well, listening intently is different than changing your mind. And I'll take issue with the format in which this has gone down. I don't feel that 4 bills considered as a package is an appropriate way to do it. And I certainly don't feel that 9 separate issues masqueraded as 4 different bills is an appropriate way for them to get proper judicial consideration on these.
It's just
right. When they go to the newspapers, it's a photo bill.
Right.
It's not a photo bill that also defines locked and closed facility and also provides additional law enforcement access to the registry that's in violation of the privacy rights that the voters wanted us to have.
Right.
It doesn't say that part. They sell them as solving one problem, but there are these other things bundled inside that we object to. We object to the whole thing.
Now, what actions are these people going to take to get our current law enforced? to be implemented. What are they going to do? What do these people that are discussing our futures?
Well, that's just it. They're not doing anything.
Do they have power to do anything about our present?
Reverend Steve, what are you saying?
I said they're not. That's just it. They're not thinking in the positive. They're thinking in the negative. How can we severely restrict or just completely wipe out this law? And people like Jones and them down there that this is what they're doing. They're letting their personal bias affect their position of office, and from Schuette on down, and that's what's sad to see happening here in the state of Michigan.
What concerns me is that legislators do one thing and they make law, and these guys have worked so hard on this committee that are they willing to step back at this point and say, you know what, based on what I've heard, we had a misfire, we're going to go back into a committee and try it again. Are they willing to do that, or are they going to ram something through just so they can go back and say, no, I did not waste 4 months of my time in committee hearings. We did get some laws passed. Please, constituency, think that I did a good job and vote me into office next time. Political expediency is not a substitute for the right ruling of law in this instance.
That's right.
To have it ramrodded
they see
through.
that they've misfired, and let's look at it. Let's go back at it on a positive frame. How can we really help the patients and caregivers in the state of Michigan?
Exactly, and a rush to provide additional punishments as opposed to providing additional protections or reinforcing the existing protections. That should be their priority, not putting additional punishments out there. And by endangering medical practitioners and trying to threaten them with potential violations, simply discourages people from participating in the Medical Marijuana Act, not encourages them. And by its very nature, it is exclusive of our community as opposed to being inclusive. And therefore, I have a real problem with anybody that wants to redefine a doctor-patient relationship only in this circumstance and not applying a standard that would be universally applicable.
Right. As far as I'm concerned, my doctor-patient relationship has no place of business within the legislative branch down there in Lansing or in any court in the state of Michigan.